All right. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Theory and Theology, where we're usually talking about some interesting topics on spirituality and religion and just different cultures and theories. Still gonna be clearing my throat for a while, so please be patient. Got a short one. It's not really too relevant to like specific cultural groups, just in general. I would say just kind of some food for thought when it comes to a lot of us think a lot lately about like finances and work and all these kind of things, and it's important, like for the first time in quite a while, it's all kind of shifting all over the place, and there's plenty of clickbait all over the internet that's like, we're running short on this, like this is going under, this is crashing, this is shifting, this is, it's hard to even know like where to start looking at stuff. It's like everything's basically crashing or moving or something. And with that, things about debt change, things about work change, all different sorts of things change. And one thing I was kind of realizing or thinking about, but kind of thinking more into it, was kind of like different times in my life and spending habits and choices, right? Because I think one thing that a lot of hardworking people have in common, it seems anyways, is like, there's definitely that aspect of like, let's have fun with this money. Some of it we don't really have to plan exactly where it's all gonna go, and it's fine, but I think, as with anything, it's really important with money to have like a stopping point, like for example, like I'm pretty sick still, so this doesn't really apply to this current time, but when I think about things like anything that you would want to keep an eye on, to keep engaged with in a way that would like help your health and just everything flow more balanced in the first place, think about exercise, think about diet, like the basic of the basics, right? Your eat, sleep, diet. When it comes to those types of topics, it's so easy to just be like, okay, like I'm gonna have a cheat day here, but you're not like having like a cheat month, like if you have goals and you don't want to be having to, work off all that weight or, go backwards in your fitness plans. Like if you're the kind of person that cares about your fitness, you set limits for yourself, as well as like playtime usually too, but like it has a limit, right? When it comes to sleeping, you have a limit. Like you pull an all-nighter or something, or like, you stay up one night watching like a weird movie, or like you go out late with friends on occasion, like we've all done it at least once, and a lot of us who are able to maintain, a decent amount of balance probably don't tend to do that too often. You don't really let your sleep get impacted too much. Now, where all of these types of things kind of usually get impacted more is when things are out of the norm and you're kind of in a more stressful setting, whatever that looks like. So it could be like maybe you're in a really tough financial setting, or just, some other kind of setting where it's like, like some random bill came up, your car completely just like dies, and you're like, I literally am gonna have to do something about this, like either fix it or get a new one. Like you have to make a major expensive decision all of a sudden, or it doesn't even always have to be about money, but like, we all have random major things that come up at least on occasion, and a lot of us have them more often than we would like, definitely. And like you can have smooth sailing in all those areas of your life, but then something comes up and you're like, okay, I gotta cut back on this other stuff to reserve energy. Maybe I can't wake up early and work out before work because I need that extra hour or 30 minutes of sleep or whatever, like, maybe I can't do a certain, purchasing food, online that's like kind of pricey, groceries with a lot of healthy stuff because, maybe it's too expensive. Maybe, if you're using delivery, especially, every penny's gonna count, and like different stuff like that. Like sometimes it's like, okay, you're gonna have to, maybe not be able to be too strict because something came up. But then you always have a limit, right? But a lot of times what happens with finances, for some reason, what I notice with myself and other people, and it's an easy thing to catch, you just have to get good at catching it like you do with the other different areas, and I notice with finances, it's so easy to let stress impact it. Like I was thinking about like times in my life when I was like the least attentive to my finances. Like I knew how much money I made, but I wasn't really like tracking anything, and I was just like, whatever, I'm stressed, I don't even have the energy. Like when the money's there to have fun, I am having fun, and I need to have this fun more than I need to have the money at a certain point when it's like time to pay the rent or whatever. It's like, and there's certain things that we all are like, I'm never gonna pay rent late, I'm never gonna pay this or that late. Like there's certain stuff we're always able to like keep up with and not hardly have like any issue with it, right? So that just shows, for the people who feel like they can't control their finances or control their spending, that just shows, that you can do it. You just have to apply that same thinking that you do for the one or two things or however many things that you always consistently pay. Like some people never screw around on their taxes. Some people never miss student loan payments. Some people never, don't pay tithe like on a, at a church like every time. Or like some people never like not tip even if it's like delivery or Uber Eats or Lyft or whatever. So I didn't mean never tip. I meant, what did I say? I meant some people never avoid tipping, like I actually talked to somebody kind of recently who was like, oh yeah, I get Lyft rides all the time and like never tip. And I was like, oh shoot, that's messed up. Like I didn't know that was like something people like routinely just didn't pay for that. Like I would feel so bad. And don't you get like a rating? But anyway, as a passenger you get a rating. But anyways, I was like, like my whole thing is like, if the money's there and you did something like ultra nice, like your car's super good, or like you got me somewhere even like a minute or two earlier, or like you picked me up right on time, if not a little earlier, I'm big with like time for some reason. Like I'm not always in a rush or anything, but it's like, for me, that's something I value to pay more for. And I know it's not their fault, but I'm like, hey, if things are earlier, then cool. I'm the same with food delivery. If it gets to me earlier than it said it was going to, then yes, I'm gonna give you like more money for that. But I'm always gonna tip at least 15%, usually 20, but at least 15%. 15% means my order didn't even get to me, and I'm still tipping you. Like 15% is like, you paid the gas and did something with my food. Like, I don't even know, bro. Like, my food just never showed up. It's at the neighbor's house or something. That's gonna be a 15%. It's like, I'm sorry, but it's not, for me, it's not really something that I feel weird about tipping 15 to 20%. I've tipped people way more. Like if I had the money there and I was just like, you got me something from across the street, literally, because I couldn't go do it myself, and like you got me something from across the street and rushed it over for like, and like, really quick, and it was like a stupid like quick little thing, it's like, I've done that before when I was sick and I was just like, dude, I just need a freaking like one thing, and not one, but like, a couple things. It's like, can you please just bring this? Because like I would do it myself, but it's like I can't leave. So I was just like, I hate it, but at the same time it's like, dude, they just did me a solid and went and just did it real quick. And I was like, that's great. That's worth a lot of money to me, especially if it's already going to be something super cheap and I have the money there. I'm like, I'm not spending all my money on these people, but it's like, sometimes it's like, that's something that I'm definitely going to spend more on. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, when it comes to those different areas, where people are able to kind of be consistent with paying stuff. And you don't even get like bitter about it, you know, like some of that kind of stuff you're like more than glad to pay it, like it's a relief for you or a joy for you. I really like tipping people. I like having, I'm not saying I'm like rolling in money, but I'm just saying like I like it when like maybe I get an extra like quarterly bonus check or something and just have a couple extra, you know, just hanging around, and I'm like, why not just tip this person more money? Like they're doing me a service that obviously I don't want to do this myself in the first place, and you see they're only making like a couple bucks off of this anyways. Why not give them $5? It's like, it's not, you know, I don't mean to sound like mean about it, but it's like it's really not a lot of money, and that could really make somebody's day, you know. It's like it's not even a lot, you know. And I think about it and I'm like, you know, the tip is usually even like built in nowadays, so you don't even have to think about that I tip them. You just don't click off of it and it automatically tips them. So it's like, you know, like they're getting a tip, you know. And even if the services are already expensive, the way I feel about it is if I'm going to gripe about a tip when somebody did their job and it's a job that you're supposed to tip, I'm not really going to gripe about paying the freaking tip. It's like I am paying for the service. Like, you know, there are other ways for me to do this for cheaper if I really needed to, usually. Like, it's not like, it's a luxury service, let's be real, you know? Like, for some people I know, like, they definitely need their deliveries for stuff. I'm talking like Instacart, like Lyft, that kind of stuff. Like the type of stuff that like you willingly use, you know, like unless you're really sick or like can't move in a certain way or something, like you're most of us can leave the house, honestly. Maybe not all of us can really afford everything, but it's like most of us can go to the nearest grocery store. That's not usually like a problem that's so common to the general population. It's not common to have that as like an actual issue, and it can be an issue, and that would suck, honestly. But yeah, I think it is possible to just kind of, you know, think about the stress levels with spending. Like I was even thinking about different methods of spending, like different methods is the right word. It's too late at night for me to have like a decent vocabulary, but different so basically what I was thinking about was, say there's like a scenario where, you know, you have like an emergency, the car breaks down, like, or any kind of urgent situation that's like you have to kind of figure this out. The process that we use to figure out how to solve problems works so differently when we're thinking on our toes, because there's something going on that is something that we really have to fix, or else it's going to affect a lot of other stuff really quick, or a few very important things very quick. Or a lot of very important things very quick. But either way, like there's a reason why you would rather have it done sooner rather than later. And this kind of thinking is something I was kind of like just kind of thinking about the whole process of it all, because that type of thinking is not, it's not the best type of thinking, you know. It really isn't. Like for finances, it really isn't. To have a situation come up and you're like, I have money or I don't have money, how do I get the money? To be in a situation like that where it's like the money's not there and you have to pay for something that you need, that is probably the worst type of financial planning that people do. Now there's also another sense of urgency that's not really a necessity, but it's like I'm impulsive and I want this right now, and I'm justifying reasons why I'm gonna get it instead of wait till I can actually afford it, or until I have the money, and I'm buying it at like a responsible time. It's kind of like an irresponsible kind of spending. I'm not saying everybody does this, but you know, there's an example where it's like, I mean, cars are an easy example to use. a lot of people need cars. You need a car. Like, you might live in an area where, like, public transportation is so unreliable or so distant that it's, like, really not gonna help. Like, if I had to drive 100 miles one way every single day, round trip of 200 miles, I mean, I would say I need a car, at least for the time. Otherwise, you're just literally wasting, like, extra hours of your life if you had to take public transit. And that's not, like, a normal amount of a commute. I'm not talking LA traffic, because in LA, that's definitely a normal commute, if it would take, like, a couple hours or something. But I'm just talking distance-wise. Like, a distance of 200, um, 200 miles is, like, 2 hours one way, pretty much. About 2 hours one way, depending what type of place you live in. But out here, you're lucky if it's 2 hours. Like, usually it's like 2.5 hours, if not 3.5 hours. That's a long time for anyone to spend on the road. And if you could even want to even try to imagine doing that more, it's like you're literally spending like 6 to 8 hours driving every freaking day. Like, it doesn't even make any actual logical sense. But I know there are the rare people who have to deal with that. But if you think about a situation where a person has to, have like some kind of a travel distance, something, that requires you to have a car versus, not having a car, that's different than thinking about, like, hey, I can afford, like, a lot of different types of cars, from used to, like, brand new. I mean, always buying something brand new, I mean, I applaud people. If you're able to do it and you can do it, you go ahead. But some of us can't really do it, and then we just kind of do it. That kind of, like, high spending, it's like a high price tag type of spending, like impulsive high price tag spending, like, that is a really rough thing. I I don't know. I'm more of the other type, probably, either like the impulsive, like, small price tag spending, and then the impulsive, like, if there's some, like, major thing, like, that happens, is going to cost money. Like, I'm not saying that I never have savings, but it's like I definitely have my money in places that it's not always available. Like, I have money in one of my retirement accounts. That's probably where I hold the most of my money, and I can't just, like, get it, like, today if I needed it. Like, there's, like, a process to apply to get it and everything, and then, it gets to you. It's not like it's, like, immediate. Like, there's at least some kind of, like, confirmation form that you have to send, like, by mail. And so that at least is, the same day kind of, like, delivery type of thing. But I mean, I don't really take that money out. It's not really something that I use on the side or anything. It just kind of stays there. But on occasion, I do need it for other types of stuff. Just because of the way I planned certain things, maybe it wasn't, like, the best of planning, but it's still my money, so it's like, whatever, if you're taking your own money. But I've never really used, like, a whole lot of it. It was just like, this was the easiest way to not have to get, like, a loan or, like, a credit card at that certain point. It was like the easiest way to get there. But I think, so long as people can problem solve, not having to get in those types of situations, I'd say the small impulsive spending, for a lot of people, that's kind of a big one. Just noticing that it is, like, one of the types of situations that you have control over. It just is so fun to not really control it, but you have control over it. It's not like anybody's, like, forcing you to buy, like, Uber Eats or that kind of thing. Like, it's, these are optional decisions. Like, that's an easy one that I know myself and a whole lot of people are just like, we order food, even though it's like, it makes even more sense to, like, order groceries and then, like, cook the groceries. It's like, yeah, it takes a little more time to order them, and it takes a little more time to cook, but it's like at least financially you're getting the delivery part, done. Like you can order stuff that you can cook. That's not really a big deal. So I don't think ordering food on a very, very regular basis, if you can't afford it, like it seems like it's so affordable, but I was thinking about it, and I've been looking at the prices, and I was saying I don't think it doesn't matter how small of an item I've ever purchased on Uber Eats. I don't think anything has ever cost under $20. And when you think of it, that's a lot of money for whatever it is. Like usually whatever you're buying, if you went to go get it, it wouldn't cost you $20, including the gas. Usually it's like something local that you order, and it's like a relatively local. You don't usually order stuff from clear across town because like it's going to take like, if it's going to take over an hour to get to you, you're probably not going to order it, in all honesty. Like when you're hungry, you just want to eat. But it usually gets there fast. Like in the places where I live, it's like 25 to 35 minutes. Like it's not that long at all. But $20 for like a burger, I mean, $20 for a burger and fries, even a combo, even $20 for like a Carl's Jr. type of combo, I mean, that's a lot of money, like, and even though they cost a lot of money, they're probably, I think if I get that like veggie burger or whatever burger that is, that Beyond Burger, I know it's not like really healthy for you, but like I like the way they taste, and so sometimes I'm like, hey, I'll just get this. But that's about as far as I go in fast food these days, but it's pretty good. And I think the combo is like $12 or something like that if you go to get it yourself. And so it's like, dude, if you're gonna order that would be like $23, I think, or something along those lines, depending if there's like a delivery fee. And they always say they waive something, and then they still pay you some other random fees for all kinds of other stuff. And so it's like, yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten out of a delivery from Uber Eats that was less than $20, at least not recently. And I'm thinking maybe 18, 19 if I'm being like generous. And I just maybe overlooked something, but I've really been looking, and I really don't think I've seen anything under $20, and that's pretty ridiculous. That meaning that everything was over $20. Like I think $20 was the least at a time when I was ordering often, and then like 25 or so was pretty average, and then you can spend a lot. You can spend like upwards closer to 30, and I'm talking like I just shop for myself. Like I'm not buying for any other people, I'm just buying this for myself. And so for one person to spend $20 on a burger, or one person to spend, and that's when you're not even tipping them like $4 or $5, like it's a lot of money, so yeah, things like that. It's like easily 2 orders could easily be $25, $50. 2 orders can easily be $75. Like you order 3 burgers in a month like that, and that's already like $60 to $75 just for cheeseburgers. Like that doesn't make any sense at all, I'm talking to myself here too. It's just like sometimes you literally have to look at your bank and look at what you spent, and once you calculate all the stuff you didn't need, sometimes it's like, all right, this was one part of my paycheck that I did this, or this week I was really not spending too well. Like you have to have a limit of like when to look and be like, okay, maybe I'll spend, but I'm gonna look at my bank like every morning when I wake up, or what. Like you don't have to do it in a way that's like stressing you out or anything, but I mean, like, it's good to look and see what you're spending and keep track of it. And even if you don't like create a very detailed written budget, which is always way, way, way better. One thing I do probably about every year and a half ish is I go in and see everything that I'm paying for. Like everything. Like I go through and I could probably do this more, but it's like I go through and see like which apps have I been using. Like simple stuff like that where you're just like, I mean, this doesn't happen much anymore, but I previously had found like things I was paying for that I didn't even like use them. Like I subscribed to some kind of like weird thing from like Adobe or something like that that like was through some account that I created at work or something like that. And I think I got like a free trial for something. And then I was paying some fee for something that was like, dude, this is like my work computer. I don't even like need whatever this thing was that it was doing. Like, it was like giving me like extra editing options or something. I can't remember what the heck it was, honestly. It was a long time ago. But I was like, simple stuff like that, like forgetting to cancel things that you kind of like impulse free subscribe to. Like, you might be surprised. I was surprised that I at certain times had a couple of them that I was like, dude, like, I don't even know what it is. Like, I had to like hunt it down and like figure out what the heck it was. I had to look up the name or like call the bank or whatever and just be like, what is this thing that I'm paying for every single month? Like, I mean, that's weird to not even know, right? But, it's easy to kind of like accidentally not cancel a subscription, especially if it's a subscription that you're not even sure if you're really going to use. And then you kind of think to yourself, okay, I'm going to cancel this next Thursday or whatever. And then it just totally slips your mind. And then you just never cancel it for like a long time. Like, it's good to know if these things are coming out of your account and like know that they exist and know what they are. Like, a lot of people might be surprised if you've never done like one sweep like that through with like subscriptions and app subscriptions and like all kinds of different things you might be paying per month. That's one of the weirdest things. That was one of the weirdest experiences I had ever had. Like, it would almost be like seeing like a picture and you're just like, I don't even know like who these people are, and you knew you used to hang out with them. Like, that's happened to me before too. Like, not like in a weird, like not like in a really freaky weird way, but it was just kind of like, those friends that you make at like summer camp or something that you're like, I'm never gonna forget their names, and then like one day you're just like, shoot, I forgot who those people were. It's like, it's so weird how that happens. Like, I've had people like that in my life that were like, we were really strong friends for a small period of time, and then I'm just like, dude, I never thought I'd forget the person's name. It's like the weirdest experience. And then somebody can remind me or whatever, but it's like, yeah, like I've had an experience like that where it's just kind of like, that's weird. Like, I never thought I'd forget about this kind of stuff. But yeah, like, it's just kind of, I don't know, spending, I think for a lot of people who haven't like had an experience in like starting like a financial wellness journey, like, it's definitely something that's worth doing for people who haven't like done it before, or at least tried. Like, I just think it's the reason why I'm mentioning it is because like people are pretty stressed out lately, and it's hard for them to know like what to do with their money. People who have it, are kind of like, what do I do with this, And a lot of people are also like very, very scared. They're like pinching pennies or like can't afford, what, the city is bringing their way. It's just like, man, like, it gets expensive out there. Like, everything costs so much. Like, in all honesty, I know it costs like so much, and there are people who can't really afford, the prices to get to and from work, like with the gas prices and like things like that, where you're just like, it's a very scary situation when like prices are going up like right before our eyes. Like, that's not something that I don't think has really happened like for a lot of us lately. Like, it's happened in a lot of our lifetimes, but it's been a while. It's not something that's happened lately, up until pretty recently in the last like few years and stuff, and especially like adding a pandemic to the whole mix, and a whole like wild like 2.5 years that were just like, what the heck is happening here? Like, having to deal with all that kind of stuff too, where it's just like there's been so much changing in the last couple years that it's just kind of like, what am I supposed to do? And I think really it's the little steps, just looking at like one or two things every week or every day, just trying to like learn a little more, do a little more, and then eventually it gets done, versus thinking about, doing it and spending so much time trying to do it. Like, I literally calculated, guys, how long it takes me to do stuff that I don't want to do. Um, and I even say, I don't remember, like a lot of people who know me is like Sundays are like finance day. It doesn't mean I'm like sitting in front of my bank all day long, just like what did I spend? Like it doesn't take that long. Like I've developed a system where I was even like, I don't even want to do this. I was sick and I was like, I don't even want to do this. This is one of those days I just don't want to do this. And I was like, I'm going to give myself 90 minutes. And I was like, but I'm actually going to give myself 35 minutes, to just start and do this. And I basically laid out a whole entire rest of the month, not even just the week, but the rest of the month, like as far as 4 weeks from now. I kind of made some changes to some stuff coming up with my finances and places I'm not going to go, that I thought I was going to go because I'm kind of sick now, so I can't really do what I was going to do this weekend and different stuff like that. And I was like, dude, I just ran the numbers on like everything in like 35 minutes. Like that didn't take long at all. I mean, again, I haven't really been like doing anything, but and I don't have like a whole lot of bills or anything, but also it's like I didn't want to do it. And in my head it's like sometimes when I'm doing stuff like that, I'm like, dude, this is going to take me all day, and all the energy I waste thinking about not wanting to do it, even if I give it 35 minutes of something that I'm about to not do that I need to do, it's like, okay, maybe I need to clean the bathroom today. Give it like 35 minutes or less even, and just be like, you can literally clean the whole thing. Like, unless you have like a massive bathroom, or unless it's like really, really kind of needs like a deep scrub kind of situation. But yeah, it doesn't take like that long, and even give yourself less time, even 15 minutes. Sometimes you can knock out a thing that you don't want to do in like 15 minutes, and just do it. And it's kind of like, it sounds stupid, but if you just like get up and just go do it, and then you'll just get it off your mind, and your mind's going to be clear, and you'll have all these little tasks on your to-do list kind of done. Or you just apply it all to like finances, or apply it to all to like one area that needs to kind of have some work done on it, and just a little bit every day, like, I mean, you don't have to clean your bathroom like that like every day. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like some things that are really gonna take a long time, you really can put less small amounts of time into it, and then sometimes when you get the momentum going, you just want to like finish what you're doing. But I mean, you can definitely make a plan with your finances and stick to it, and not have to go off track. And if you do, you could always set for yourself like a day where you're just like, okay, that's why I told myself Sundays, like I'm literally just gonna do this every single Sunday without fail. And it just really helps, and it's not like fun, like I'd rather be doing almost any other thing, but also money can be fun, when it's not like completely overwhelming you. So I don't know. Sorry, my screen went like completely black. Oh man, this phone. My phone just went completely black like 2 times. That was super weird. But I'm trying to turn on this broken lamp. Yeah, all it really takes is a little, like, it's hard to get motivated sometimes, but it helps to take the steps, but definitely knowing your limits. Like, if you really are avoiding things because you're overwhelmed, like, you don't have to, like, excuse me, you don't have to, like, push yourself until you're, like, run ragged. Like, you can take a break from stuff. Like, knowing what that looks like, too, really helps, because that's another thing that I definitely have a problem with that. I'm like, yeah, like, I need to, like, take a break. I need to take a day off or something, or I need to, like, maybe not hit this one thing so hard and, like, just take it easy tonight or something. And, like, it's hard for me to, like, do that. Like, sometimes I'm, like, I got the momentum, like, I just want to, like, do this, but at the same time, I'm like, I really need to take a break. So, like, it really does help, to take breaks with stuff earlier before you need them, because then it's not, such an intense thing, and then when you're actually resting, you can actually rest instead of being like a different kind of rest where you're just like too like spread too thin. Like, it's just good, to try to get things on a track where you're not like just doing things like too impulsively or too just like irresponsibly, or just like getting off track, to a point where it's causing more stress. Because, I don't know, I feel like certain things, like eating healthier, for example, like if you can afford to eat healthy, a lot of times, eating healthier can just be easy. There's a lot of good, healthy food. I'm not saying, like, you need to switch and just eat, like, iceberg lettuce salads all day or anything. Like, you need, like, proper calories and variety and everything. But sometimes just being creative with it and being like, I just want to eat something, like, healthy, for, like, a week, just eat, like, healthy food for a week or something, if you're really struggling with it. But it's like, if you're not really struggling with it and it's easy to just kind of pop back into it, it's good to just kind of, it's easy to just kind of do that sometimes. And I think also with, like, exercise can be that way too for a lot of people. But I don't know. Like, I think when it comes to finances, for a lot of people, that's another thing that's kind of like a little bit different, right? A lot of people aren't maybe like, too concerned with their spending habits. But for me, I try to look at it from the perspective of like stress, like how a lot of things that are problematic with spending really aren't worth the stress of it. Because you can just kind of make financially wise decisions. Like, I'm not saying it isn't hard, but I'm just saying, like, the act of it isn't hard. It's more so like the motivation to do it, or the, avoiding the impulsivity part of it. Like, that can definitely be hard, but yeah, like, the actions aren't that hard. I just think it seems like the actions are hard. Like, I know, like, when you're working out or something like that, that's physically, like, there's pain physically sometimes. Like, there's a little physical discomfort, if not a lot. And then the same, like, eating doesn't have to be that way, though. Like, usually you can find healthy food that's a pleasure to eat. It might not be a pleasure to pay for, but it might be a pleasure to eat. Like, I don't think that there's that much healthy food out there that I would find like disgusting. Like, there's low quality stuff or like weird things that I just don't like to eat, but I wouldn't say that that there's that much stuff. Like, there's enough healthy types of foods that don't even take a long time to cook, or even just like raw fruits and vegetables. Like, if you get good quality ones, they're delicious. Like, and stuff that you'll eat, like, you can just have that available for yourself and just eat that kind of stuff. Like, it's good for you, like, it's stupid to say, but it's like, buy fruits and vegetables and eat them. Like, if you have them in the house, and you pay money for them, you're probably going to eat more of them than if you have to go out of your way to go get them. Like, if you have that kind of stuff in your house, you'll eat it. And if you have less junk food in the house, you'll eat the other stuff that you have, Like, that's kind of like the issue I'm having with my mom right now. I'm like, dude, like, if you don't buy cookies and candies and, like, chips and stuff like that, it's like, I'm not going to eat this stuff. I'm not going to pay my money for this. I'm not going to pay for, like, snacks. Like, hardly ever. Like, I hardly ever pay for snacks because it's a waste of money. It's like, this isn't even real food. Like, I'll pay money to buy food, but I'm not going to pay money to buy, like, snacks. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to, and if I do, it's going to be, like, because I have the munchies in a little bit. It's not going to, it'll be like a 7-Eleven run kind of thing. It's not going to be, like, value size packed boxes with, like, 6 of every type of cookie or whatever. It's like, I don't really need that. Like, I really don't need that. Like, for one person, for myself, like, I don't need that at all. Like, I don't even need that within, like, a year's period of time. Like, so I don't need it in the house. It's like, it's just unnecessary. For me, it's like an unnecessary expense that's not even worth, what you're paying for. It's like, I don't need like 24 Doritos. Like, why would I need 24 Doritos? Like, that's so many freaking Doritos. Like, in my opinion, that's so, like, why would I need like 24 Oreos? That's so many Oreos. Like, I think about it and I'm like, man, 24 Oreos, or packets of 6 Oreos, 24 of them. It's like, that means, like, if you had like 2 packs a month, that's like every other week you could eat like a pack of Oreos. To me, that's a lot. I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking, like, I don't really buy that much of like junk food like that. So to me, that's a lot to buy like Oreos every other week. Like, that's a lot. Like, that's really a lot for me. Oh man, I don't know. Like, I'm not a snacker though. I'm more of a an eater. Like, if somebody were to tell me like, like some kind of like food delivery every other week, I'd see that for me would be way more likely. Not the chips and stuff, but like, the actual meal delivered. Like, probably once a month, maybe twice a month, which is technically almost every other week, but not consistently every other week. I'd put it that way. So yeah, to me it's definitely not a necessity. Like, it's spending a lot of money, and some of that stuff, if you have like health reasons or like physical reasons where you can't go get stuff, it does make sense to like deliver. Like, I've delivered more food to myself than ever, mostly because of COVID, honestly. Like, I'm comfortable with like the delivery to my door and I don't have to talk to anybody or see anybody. Like, to me, I've been more comfortable with that. But it's also nice because it's I don't have to go to the store, and I hate going to the store anyways. But I do find like it is more direct. Like, when I'm shopping online for stuff like that, I'm usually not buying any extra thing. Like, if this is the list of 4 things that I need delivered to me, I'm getting those 4 things, or if I'm getting water, like stuff like that. That's like, it might be something like heavy, but I don't know. Like, it's not always justified, honestly. Like, I'm telling you guys, look at it. Just look at it and just start looking at the numbers and just adding them up every so often. And, I don't know. Every so often you'll be like, yeah, maybe I need to get things a little more back on track. I mean, some people are really, really good with their spending and they never really overspend or anything. But, a lot of people, it's like they feel like they don't have a lot of money. But the thing is, a lot of people stress spend just like they stress eat, and just like they stress avoid exercising. Like, there's a lot of things we do when we're stressed. And when it comes to spending, that's definitely one of them. Like I was saying, some of it is impulsive because it's like urgent, and then other times it can be impulsive because, of stress related things. And so, yeah, just even knowing what kind of spending you're doing. Like, am I spending for fun? Am I spending, because I'm stressed and I'm tired? Or am I spending because, I need to really freaking spend on something right now, even if I didn't plan to do it? Yeah. Alrighty.